Appreciate everyone being here. If anybody has anything specific that you were hoping we cover on this call, I'm going to be doing like a pretty good overview and there will be time at the end. But if there are specific issues, things you've seen online, on YouTube, on your social media, that you have questions about, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat and I will try to cover it through the course of the talk. When I gave this speech in person, it was like probably about 45 minutes. I think I can go a bit faster. I mean, maybe not. I had a lot of people take me different directions when I was at Fence Tech. So when I was speaking there. So, but the most important thing here is that you get value. We're able to share some value, share some best practices. There's not going to be a hard pitch for anything in here. We're going to show you exactly how to get things done. And if you want to meet with us, great. And if you don't, that's totally fine. This is an education session, not a multi-level marketing vitamin shop. So thank you everyone for hopping in. We're going to be starting. The topic of this webinar is the local SEO strategies for fence contractors. I mean, if anyone's done a Google search lately, there is so much misinformation online. And so what I try to do after kind of diving into the topic for years is distill it into the most basic concepts. The goal being, if you see something online and it doesn't line up with these concepts, then it's probably not going to be a valuable exercise and not a good investment. The things that you should be focusing on as a company should be aligned with these values. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Like I said, this is a pure help flow. So if anyone has questions or things they want me to talk about, pop them in the chat, and then we can. You're more than welcome to. At the end, we'll do a question answer session. So let's do it. All right. So if you've paid for SEO or you've been investing in it and you can't explain it, you're very far from alone on that one. Unfortunately, this is Rob. There's quite a few people like Rob. They're investing in SEO. Maybe they've been doing it for years, but they can't explain what they're getting out of it. Sorry, am I blocking a bunch of stuff showing my big old head in here?
Your head is on the text, yeah.
Okay, let me reshare. Is that better?
Yep.
All right, great.
Better if you want to see it all, yes.
I would like y'all to see it all. That's kind of the point. So,
it's a good plan.
So yes, so investing a ton in SEO, you may get some reports that say, hey, you know, your keyword rankings are going up and your traffic is going up, but the phone isn't necessarily ringing any more than it did before you paid that person. Or maybe you've been in the market for a while and there's some newer, younger sites coming up and you know they don't do as good a work, but they're ranking higher than you. So what's up with that? And why aren't you keeping your position? Okay. So what SEO is, in case there's any misunderstandings in here, SEO is getting found online without paying for ads. Specifically, I'm not talking about people typing in your company's name. I'm talking about people typing in anything else but your company's name. These strategies will immediately start to help you rank for your company name. But I'm hoping you have something that if they type in your exact name, you come up anyway. This is more about ranking for words that don't have your name in it. So fence company near me, fence contractor, fence companies, fence installation, all of those types of words. So one question I get asked a lot, does SEO still matter? There's a lot of, this was like an ongoing debate, right? Because AI came out and it fundamentally changes the way that users use search. So some people asked, does it even matter anymore? And what we can do is we can look at the data. So what SEO does, what having a strong brand presence for your company online does, it's going to help you. Let me back up for a second. So what it contributes to is it contributes in different places. So I want to make sure we're speaking the same language when we talk about SEO and where the money comes from, right? So if you were to type in fence company near me in any market, most markets at the top, this is called local services ads. It's a great program. If you're a legitimate business and you've got some reviews, you need to sign up for this program. It's one of the fastest, easiest ways to get leads. This is Google search ads. I wouldn't recommend this unless you've got a bit of a marketing budget. If you have only got $1,000 to spend on ads, it is not going to do as well for you as you'd want it to. You need more to make the machine work, just like you need to put a certain amount of gas in a car to get it to run. Google search ads just require a bit more. You can absolutely compete here. This is the Google Map Pack. And when people talk about local SEO, this is what they're talking about. And for most companies, this is about 50% of their clicks. So it's a huge part. So does SEO still matter today? Yes. Even when Google rolls out their AI summaries, if it's a query that will trigger a map pack, you want to be in the map pack. And this is SEO. Okay. The other nice part about it is if you have good SEO and you're being found everywhere, ideal scene, your company would be up here and here and here and maybe here as well. That's of the 10 or 15 companies they may show on the first page, you take over 4 or 5 of those slots. That's huge, and it can be more. If you can do that, the chances of you getting those leads is really high. So SEO is still very important and has a huge impact on your AI if you get recommended by AI as well. Okay, great. I think I killed that one. So here's the reality in 2026 for most fence companies. Like I said, most organic leads are coming from your Google business profile. So if you don't have one, you haven't optimized it, and you're not actively getting reviews, you are racing at a big disadvantage against everybody else. That has to be a big part of your plan. Your organic rankings, when I say this, I mean your website. Like a lot of SEO companies will, when they say like your ranking for these keywords went up, they're talking about your website. The website does impact your Google Maps ranking for sure. You want to see those numbers go up, but even in the best of times, most companies will only see about 10% of their leads coming from their websites. So there are a lot of companies I work with that have on all the graphs up and to the right, they're absolutely killing it. Their traffic has 10x, 15x, but the calls have not tracked that at all. The calls are not tracking the same way. There's a lot of ways to get traffic that don't get your phone to ring. And obviously it's important to focus on the ones that actually get phone calls. So who cares if you write an article about how deep do I want to set posts? It needs to be specifically about your area and your market over and over again. So you need to become the expert in your area. All of the AI optimization absolutely relies on real authoritative signals. So your website is important. The SEO is important. Showing evidence is important. We're going to talk about evidence a ton on here. And then the last thing to know is that Google doesn't like fake companies. So if you are not sharing enough information, you could look fake. And that could be one of the reasons why you're not getting leads. You need to make sure that it's obvious to Google that you're not a fake company. So that way, when those, what do they call them? Chuck in a truck pop up in your market, there's not a chance. There's not a chance that they can displace you. Okay, cool. So who I am, just giving you a little bit of background, not going to be a pitch, but me and Ashton over here, we work exclusively with fence and deck companies. This is obviously when I had hair. I lost a bet to Ashton and lost my hair. 7 years in SEO. We do have a book called Book Solid, which goes over a lot of these concepts. If you'd like a copy, just let us know. And then we have a podcast called Post by Post, where we talk about the decisions that fence and deck owners make to get them where they are. We have done this a while, and we have many people who like us. Okay, let's go into the meat now. So the most common reasons that fence companies are failing, the most common reasons is usually neglect. Most of the time, most fence owners, they have so much to do every day that the idea of filming social content always falls as a lower priority, lower priority, lower priority. Optimizing the Google business profile is never going to feel as important as sending out an invoice or collecting a check or running an estimate. It just never is going to. But it's one of those things about working on the business instead of working in the business. So the most common reasons your SEO is failing is you neglected your profile, your website, you paid for it 5 years ago and it hasn't been updated. Plugins aren't updated. Security is not updated. So it's slow, especially on mobile phones. The name, address, and phone number don't match across the internet, or they are only found on your website and your business profile and nowhere else. You don't have enough reviews. Your website is one page. I see a lot of like they just do one really long page and it's not optimized to be local. It's general because a lot of people in the last 2 years have gone into ChatGPT and said, write me a homepage for a fence company. And they spit out the same thing every time, pretty much. So that's not going to rank or work. And then weak topical authority. So no local authority, which I am going to explain what this is on other slides. Okay. Is this I want to make sure what I'm talking about is resonating with the people in this room. Now that we got a little sneak peek of what we're going to be covering, can you put a 1 in the chat if this is in line with what you were hoping to learn about on this webinar? Okay, cool. All right. Okay, cool. I appreciate it. Webinars can be hard to sit through. So hopefully I keep it entertaining and very directed for you. So, okay, perfect.
If you do end up having questions during the meeting, feel free to just drop it in the chat. You can hit me, and we'll make sure we bring it up in the at the end for the FAQs.
Yep, I will talk about backlinks. Definitely. Okay, cool. Let's go into this. So if you've Googled and gone down this path before, they throw so many words at you and there's so many gurus and it's so crazy. The whole scene on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere else, it's an absolute mess. And a lot of these people don't agree with each other on what actually moves the needle. The strategies that work follow a very clear guideline, and everyone in this room actually owning a fence company, they are easy guidelines for you to follow, and they are much harder for a spammy company to follow. So this is not a way to hack the system. This is a way to educate the system on your behalf. Okay. There's a very fine difference there. And when you look at gurus, you have the advantage of authenticity. And we're going to talk about leveraging that very heavy today. So to dive into it, the first thing we're going to do, this is kind of the framework. It's called EEAT. This is a Google guideline about how they determine who should be the top ranked. And we're going to go in detail for the fence industry today. But experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness, EEAT. When they scan your website and they scan all your competitors, they are essentially giving you a grade for each of these categories. And that grade is determining, they're not all weighted equally, but that grade is determining who has the top spot. So experience, if you have a domain from 2000 and you've been getting leads from it forever, even though that domain is super ugly, it's because your experience looks great. It's very validated in Google's eyes. Expertise, if you've been building your social, you've been educating people, you've been writing blogs, expertise is something you can show. Another easy one here is reviews is going to come into this. If you've been focusing on reviews, it builds up your expertise. Authority, are you an authority in your market? So do you have the partnerships? Are you showing the case studies? Are you writing things from the right point of view, like writing things as an expert, telling people exactly how it is? All of those things. And of course, backlinks falls into that as well. So site authority as well. And then trustworthiness. Are you trustworthy? Your ranking will get impacted by how fast you answer the phone, and it will get impacted, we all know, by negative reviews. So if you start racking in reviews that say you're not doing a good job, it will directly and immediately impact your ability to get found by new customers because Google doesn't trust you and there's signals against that. So we're going to go over each of these 1, 2, 3, 4 today. The first thing we're going to do is this is Charlie Munger. Many people say he's a very wise man, and his bank account would suggest that's true. One of the things he likes to do with confusing topics, especially, is he likes to take the problem and flip it backwards. So it's called inverse thinking. So my question is, and we can put some in the chat, if your goal were to make Google not trust you, you wanted to look like the shadiest person you could, what are some of the things that you would do? What are some obvious things that you could do to make yourself look very untrustworthy? We'll just take a minute and we'll see what pops in the chat. Will I turn on the fan because those of us in Texas know that it is a muggy, wet blanket today. Anything, and I can start the fire. AI generated logo, AI generated website, one prompt websites. Yeah, nothing matches. Yep. Yep. Generic Google business listing. Yep. No photos or one photo, and it's a stock photo. That would make you look kind of sketchy. Then, I mean, I'm sure there's things that come up when you're quoting against somebody. You give them a quote and somebody else comes in like 40% lower, and you're like, you look at the quote and you go, that's a sketchy looking quote. No license number if it's required in your area, no insurance, no workman's comp, no warranty. Doesn't matter if your address is a trailer park. Uh, okay, cool. That's some. Let's get into it. So there he is, um, driving the Miata. Okay, so how to look untrustworthy online. Um, you are not showing photos. The photos you do show are messy, like the workmanship isn't good, or there's trash and dirt in them. Uh, there's bad reviews on your profile. You don't have a company email, so you haven't paid for a company email address, so it's all Gmail or AOL. No faces at all. So it's all the stuff that ChatGPT is going to do in one prompt. Okay, doesn't mention an owner, vague descriptions, no license number, no one answers the phone. If you think that Google is not tracking how often you answer your phone, you are wildly mistaken, in my opinion. That is a theory. That is not a fact, and I'm only going to present fact today. But I do think you will be negative impacted by not answering your phone, and I know at least one program that for sure gets impacted by that. So that means if we do want to rank, we need to do the opposite of that list. So let's go through the EEAT. The first one is experience. Experience is proving you've actually done the work. Okay, so you're doing the work. Now you need to talk about doing the work if you want it to build itself. So you need a gallery on your site with real projects. You may start, if you're starting your fence company from scratch, you may start with stock photos, but the second you get real photos, you're going to want to swap those out and not forget to do so. At the bottom of your homepage or service pages, you want to have a gallery. There's a reason why so many fence companies have a gallery. It's become expected. So you want to get that gallery. And ideally, you want to name the file before you upload them. That's just a little hack for you if you have the time for it. But what it is and where it is going to help in the file name before you pop it onto your website. Before and after photos are great. Case studies, I'm going to talk about multiple times. If you have a great project or the fence just came out looking well, it kind of behooves you to make a case study about it. Just talk, it doesn't have to be long. It can be 150 words with the photos, maybe a YouTube video just showing, and you want to put that kind of everywhere. So put it on your website, have a case study section, post it on your social media. On your social media, link it to your new page on your website, post the YouTube link with a little description of the project and embed that on your website. You want to create a web talking about, hey, I built this fence in this area, and then you show evidence in multiple places. On-site videos are great. I know most fence contractors do not love recording themselves. It's an uncomfortable thing, but it works. It straight up works in your locale, and it'll work even beyond that. There's a man I interviewed on my podcast. He forced himself to do 3 videos a day, every single day. And in 10 months, his followers had gone up, his close rate has gone up, everyone in his neighborhood had seen his videos, and he wasn't paying for ads. And then when he went to Fence Tech, he had all kinds of people stopping him to say they recognized him from the videos. And he was recording things like talks to his team, the stretches in the morning. He was talking about unloading, videos of them unloading stuff off the truck, videos of them driving pillars or digging pillars. He was doing befores, during, and after videos, but it was 3 a day. And he set timers in his phone, and he wasn't allowed to go to bed unless he did it. And it grew his business. That is for sure. I think he's I don't know how big his company is, but it's Lynch's Lawn and Fence. So this stuff absolutely works. Day on the job videos, YouTube, site via blog, social media. The reason I mentioned so many other things besides your website is because Google is constantly looking for evidence, and then it's looking to validate that evidence. And the way that the search engines validate the evidence is they look for it on other sites. So it's one thing to have something on your site that says, I am an expert. I built this fence. It's a second thing entirely if it shows on your website, it shows on YouTube, it shows on your Facebook, it shows on your Instagram, it shows maybe on your Pinterest, on your LinkedIn, on your X profile for your company, and then they all link together. So anywhere that Google sees it, it connects back to your site and your page, and you've got this net of evidence saying, this is what we did, we're great at it, here's proof. The next level is something that someone asked me about, which I'm going to get to, which is backlinks. But this is a fantastic start and something that is well within everyone's power. I'm going to pause on experience in case anyone's got any questions about implementing this for their company that I can answer before I move on to the next one. While those questions come in, it's when you started your fence company, there are many moments that are uncomfortable or may have been uncomfortable. And these days, social media is that uncomfortable thing that's getting added to everyone's checklist. Nobody likes doing it, but I have multiple companies who dive in, and even though if you ask them about it, they feel extremely cringe about it, it has blown them up a lot. It has grown their company a lot. It's made them recognizable in their area, made them a local celebrity, and it's all about consistency. It's not about refined quality. It's about consistency. So, okay, cool. We're going to the next one. Can't stop me. Expertise. So how do we prove to the search engines that we're an expert? That our expertise is real and true. Here's some of the things that show you're an expert, that objectively show you're an expert. So one, you want to have all of your personal profile, the company you work at, need to be connected. A company by itself is an entity that maybe shouldn't be trusted, but the individuals within that company all have a full history that Google feels they can validate. So if the owner is not shown on the website, that is an issue. It's not an issue, it's a disadvantage. Everything I'm telling you is relative. So if you're in a low competition market, you may not have to do that, but you want to have the people in your company connected to the brand of the company. Because if we work at index fencing and we have the owners on there, and then the owner's LinkedIn profile and Facebook profiles and all their social stuff says, I own this company, then everything related to that person, all that history gets attributed and benefits the company. If you don't connect the owner, then you just have a company and what it claims, and you're starting from when that company existed. If you connect the owners, you're starting from when that person existed, and it contributes to the company. It adds a lot of authority, of expertise. The next is technical writing. A lot of writing is garbage. Most people won't read 85% of your content, but the things that you want to have on your page are probably the things that you want to become a local expert with your content. So permit laws, if there's an HOA near you or you like having work, you should be writing about the HOA rules. You should be doing those comparisons on materials, the stuff that make you an expert for your area. Wood is not good for every area. A lot of areas, they hate wood. Vinyl's not good for every area. In some areas, if you're a company that has US vinyl, you can talk about US vinyl versus the domestic and how some competitors in the area use the overseas stuff. And you can go that angle, but you need to do some technical writing. Another very hot take here, pricing. How much is a wood fence? Is probably not necessarily wood, but how much is a new fence is probably one of the most commonly asked queries now that people are using their talk into their phones for AI. So if you have nothing on your website or you're answering with, well, it depends on your project. It depends on the height, style, material, and grade of your property. That is, if no one in your area has anything about price, that may fly, but showing pricing absolutely has advantages. And if someone is looking for pricing, they are a bottom of funnel lead. So I would recommend having that information on your site. It doesn't have to be exact, but it can be ranges. And hey, if it's a flat lot and everything's simple, it's 150 linear feet of white vinyl privacy fences, our price is this. That is going to get you quite a lot of searches. And if you're concerned about your competitors, I bet they already know what you charge. And you probably know what they charge. And it's a lot of times with these fence customers, it's being first to the person curious as opposed to anything else. So that is a very hot take. A lot of people don't like it, but it would fall under expertise.
You can do a range too. It doesn't have to be the exact cent price, but
Yeah,
getting
range.
a range in there is very helpful.
Yeah, the typical prices we see for a fence about this long with this material is from here to here, something like that. Whatever you're comfortable with. But if you're the only one showing pricing and none of them are, you are going to get a traffic spike from it, or you should get a traffic spike from it. Okay, number three is oh dear, is local expertise. So um, you probably work in one specific area. You should not just say we'll handle permits, and you should not just say you need a permit. You should you probably know all this stuff already, but put on your site, especially if it's a page about a specific neighborhood or a specific county or a specific township. Hey, setback requirements are this. The maximum height in the front yard is this. The maximum height in the backyard is this. Permit cost is usually this or between this and this. The permit wait time is usually about this. In our experience, you can get a permit in most seasons under a week. And you have that bullet point form on that page. That will help. You can do the same thing for the HOAs. I would not recommending having one giant page with all the permit stuff for every service area. I would recommend instead having a page for each area and then having a section in those pages for the permit requirements. Cool. And then industry involvement. Experts continue to be experts. They're always doing training or certifications. If you're in the AFA or another group, you want to have those badges on your website and maybe even a link to where your membership profile is. Attending the trade shows, any ongoing trainings. If you do automated gates and you got a certification, you want to show that and have a link to it on your website. And manufacturer training programs, all of those help. And if you have them and no one else does, you become more of an expert than them. I do have a question in the chat. Are more pages better? SEO is a relative game. So if you're in a low competition, you want to be within the range of what everyone in your area has. For instance, I wouldn't want to go into have 1,000 pages when the next competitor has 20 pages. That would be excessive. And I only have to say that because AI exists these days. But you want to be in the range, and you want to be, obviously you want to monitor your rankings and see where things are at. But sometimes with sites that have too much, one of the first things we do is cut pages and you see things start to pick up again. So I would say look at your competitors, open up their website, type slash, I'm putting in the chat, competitor url.com/sitemap.xml. So add that to the end of their thing and it'll show you how many pages they have on their site. Should these write-ups be on the websites or somewhere else? The write-ups about permits and stuff and price? If that's what you're talking about, it would be on your website, and then I'd mostly put that one on my website, but then I would have maybe some links pointing to it. So backlinks, which we are going to talk about in the next section. Cool. Okay, we're at 30 minutes. We're over halfway. Okay, authority. How do we become more authoritative? Reviews is the easiest way. If you have more reviews, you get more trusted. You have more authority because people with their own profiles are validating that you are great at this. So if you are getting positive reviews, each of those people have their own history. So validated people are on yours. It's kind of boosting you up. Being part of the AFA, Chamber of Commerce link is one of the easiest ways to increase your site authority. And it's kind of a no-brainer in most markets, even if it is a couple $100. Join the Chamber of Commerce. They'll give you a link. Search engines and AI love Chamber of Commerce. If they want to know if a business is legitimate, they can check the Chamber of Commerce. And if someone's on there, they're probably legitimate with a very high percentage. So this is a great investment. If you win local awards, I'm sure a lot of areas have a best of the county, best of the city type awards. If you can win those links are valuable. Those best of sites help with your site authority. And these are backlinks, by the way. Local charities. My kid's on a soccer team. If I could sponsor it, I would. As a local business, those the local soccer organization, the local high school, skate rink, 5K, like all those types of events. A lot of times you can sponsor, or you can sponsor Humane Society, an adoption event, an adoption drive, if they'll put a link on your site. A local business linking to you is going to do a ton to validate you as a local business. So instead of, don't buy random, stuff online that's sold to you about backlinks. It's much easier to give back to your market, and it'll pay dividends. One valuable local link is more powerful than someone trying to sell you a thousand other things online. Easy ways, if you're on an even smaller budget, or if you know a lot of people in your market, they don't have to be charities or schools. They can also be other partners. So it could be a vendor. It could be if you have a landscaper you partner with, and you can get them to link to your fence website and you link back to theirs, that validates each other against each other. If you send leads to a realtor, if a realtor sends leads to you, and you can be one of his trusted partners with like your logo and a link to your site on there, that could be another way. You can partner with the people around you that you probably meet. BNIs are a really good resource for that, or any business groups or networking groups. Those are great local links, and they're very difficult. If each of those businesses are validated entities in Google's eyes and you're linking to each other, it creates a network for each other. Okay, and then to start, there's a website called Bright Local, and that'll help you get your business directories and business profiles. Business directories and business profiles, if it's like $100, $200 or something, and it'll take your business's name, address, and phone number and build the directories all around the web for you. So you can be listed in Apple Maps and Bing and MapQuest, which is still a thing, and TomTom, which is still a thing, and a bunch of other business directories. If there's a business directory in your area, you may want to get on that. A lot of them are free. They actively look to add more businesses, and sometimes those can be worth it. But Bright Local is a great resource that you can get with or without an agency. Or if you're with us, we'll do it for you. No problem. Okay. I'm seeing a question in the chat. I'm making a partners page to link everyone I know. Is it a good or a bad idea? You get more out of it if they link to you. So it is a nice thing to do, but I would say if you make the partners page, don't put their logo on it until they show you that they linked to you. So whoever links to you gets on your site. But if they're not going to link to you, then don't link to them. Yeah, should be an easy conversation, probably. We win together. Riders of Rohan. Trustworthiness. Okay, this is the fourth one. So we want you to look very trustworthy as a business. So your contact information, they call it the NAP, name, address, and phone number. It needs to match everywhere. So you want to have that, it's on your business profile. You want to have it very clearly on your website, your company name, address, and phone number. You want to, and then use something like Bright Local. Things that make you legitimate, your warranty, license, insurance information, make sure it's on your website, make sure it's big, obvious, and clear. If you're operating in a state that requires a license, some states like California require you to have your license number on all marketing materials. So a lot of companies will put it in their header or footer. If you're in a state where it's optional, put it on all your marketing materials in the header or footer. Just make it a requirement. It's to your benefit. Same with warranty information. Make sure you have a page about it so it's clear what's included. Reviews. You can get reviews from a lot of places. Google Maps is the most important place to get reviews, but Google's been rolling out tools that aggregate your reviews from other websites and display it on that profile. What that means for ranking, we don't actually know yet, but to get ahead of it, once you get your review system in place, you want to get a ton on your Google Maps profile. And then if I wanted to bulletproof my business for the future, I would get some reviews on the ones that I know Google is experimenting with including in the profile. So Facebook, HomeAdvisor, Yelp. If someone's going to leave you a 5-star review, you can direct them anywhere you want. I would start with Google until you're getting a steady stream there and you're at the top of your market, and then I would direct them towards other places and get reviews there as well. Because Google is, especially since they have Gemini, they're starting to look at the entire body and ecosystem of a brand and not just what they can see on their own platform. And it's becoming more and more important. So you want to build up those validation, trustworthiness signals, not all in one place. Also, it's never good to trust Google all the way because they are a slimy little sea monster. So you want to just protect against what they consider their best interests, which are not often yours. And then real-time photos, get your face on there. You're a lot especially for a small local business. The reason why a lot of your customers go with you is because of you, and your brand is your biggest competitive differentiator from anyone with a bigger budget or who's been there longer. And your brand, when you're that small, is your face. Logos are great, wraps on your truck are great, but until the majority of your work is not coming from referrals, your face is what people recognize and associate with the quality of your brand and the quality of your work. So make sure your face, and also your trucks and all these things are being shown often in your marketing. Don't fill your Facebook page with just pictures of fences. Like stick your face in there. In the age of AI, authenticity is going to beat like polished AI generated nonsense. We run a lot of ads for a lot of different companies, and I'm not going to go into ads best practices, but the ads on the Facebook ads that convert the best show a very genuine owner who's not too polished, just explaining something on site, saying if you want something, reach out to me. So don't be afraid of who you are. Do some basics if you're someone who's, you know, make sure you're wearing a clean shirt. Or if you want to do an ad the opposite and you're covered in sawdust, that could resonate with everyone too. Just make sure it's enough that people know it's satire. But real photos is really the big thing there. Okay. I'm going to throw in just some extra things to know. So there's a lot of talk about, I don't know if anyone's dove into this, but entities over keywords. Because Gemini's rolled out and it's changing the way that Google works, it wants to see concepts that match their understanding of the concepts. So SEO back in the day was as easy as sort of stuff in the word you wanted to rank in a couple times on the page. And now you actually need to be more conscious about covering the whole concept better than whoever else is getting the traffic. So instead of just stuffing in these 5 words somewhere on the page, you're going to want to talk about the concepts associated with it. So what is it made out of? Maybe some technical requirements. What neighborhoods is it most popular in? What are some use cases for vinyl? Are there restrictions? What are the color options? 7, 8 years ago, that was less important, and now it's a lot more important. And those are called entities. Google has essentially mapped what they think everything is into this master library. And the more you can match their library with your information, with the information on your site, the easier it is for them to send you traffic because they think you know what you're talking about. So that goes into expertise. So it's connected, it's related concepts. This does not mean ignore the keywords. You can use something called the Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool from Google, and it'll give you approximate search engine. You don't have to pay for it. It's through Google Ads, so you have to have a Google account. But it'll give you approximate keyword traffic numbers for your area, and use that. And whatever the words is with the most traffic that sound like what someone who's going to buy something will type in, just make sure it appears once or twice on your page. Okay. And then make a good plan. It's like writing a book report more than it used to be. Okay, and then we've probably beat this with a stick, but Google needs validations. Your citations, which are your business directory listings, and your social profiles all contribute to validate you as a business. It creates a personality for your company. So you need to have those things connected. So being really consistent and having them in multiple places, showing activity in multiple places and reviews is going to help. And easiest way to do that is using, review tools and then just discipline. It just takes a bit of, it's not hard. It just takes discipline. Consistency builds trust. And worth saying, you can use the exact same content in a bunch of different places and then link them together. So you make one thing good and you post it on a bunch of different sites at the same time and then go in and link them together. Okay, good. I think we talked about this. Trustworthiness is not just on your website, it has to be outside of your website as well. You need to provide evidence. So, yep, link to external validating sources like primary sources for your membership, license information, social media, get other partners to point at you, vendor partner sites, Chamber of Commerce, press releases, other local businesses are all great resources. Okay, cool. I'm just going to go through the best practices here. Your Google business profile has a ton of different fields on it. You want to fill out as many as you possibly can. Fill it out all the way. Most of them are empty. If you fill it out all the way, you have an immediate advantage. Okay, so there's a services section in there. You want to fill out your services. For most fence contractors, that's going to be wood fence installation, vinyl fence installation, aluminum fence installation, privacy fence installation, dog, pool, wrought iron if you offer it, and not a huge amount else. The products will be very similar. You want to fill that out and get a photo on there. Your website structure should match your Google business profile. So all those services I just mentioned should have their own page on your site. And then you want to post on your GBP. That is one of your profiles. And then the last thing, this is the easiest one, is reply to every review. Even if it's just a thank you. But if someone gives you a good review, you want to reply. You want to reply to every single one. I have seen Maps results change immediately just from replying to reviews, even if they were like 2 years old. Just make it a best practice to reply to reviews. And then we're going to go through working with marketers, because I know a lot of people talk about how there's fly-by-night fence contractors and they do some shady things. Well, I think the original shady business was probably a marketer. There's a lot of shady people here. So I just want to give you some of the best practices when working with anybody. One, track outcomes, track phone calls, actual phone calls. How many did you actually get after you contracted with them? Your rankings might go up, your all kinds of things may be improving, but if the phone calls don't increase, that's going to be a problem. That said, if you're starting from scratch or you have a lot of work to do on your SEO, this particular method could take a while to bear fruit. That doesn't mean a year. You may hire someone to sprint for you, but you want to see results, because if you're paying money, you need money back. That's the whole point of the relationship. And that brings me number two, visibility comes before leads. You should see a lot of things increase, but if you're waiting 6 months and you haven't gotten a phone call, no. It's unless you're in a crazy competitive market, in which case that SEO person better be absolutely jamming 15, 20 pieces of content a month for you. If you can't afford someone to do that, focus on your socials and maybe work on ads. There's some much cheaper ad options that can get you an ROI faster. Google Maps activity matters the most. It is where most companies will get most of their organic leads from. And then you should always have access. If you hired someone to do Google Ads and you can't see the campaign yourself, that's a problem. If someone built you a website and when you leave them, they keep the website, that's a pretty huge problem. And a lot of companies aren't as forward facing as they should be about that. Anything that they build for you, you need to be the owner of, and they are a manager. So when or if they leave, you keep all the work that they did because you already paid for it, and you kick them out. And then your business isn't worse off because you left this person and they can't hold a digital gun to your head. Eddie, I'm going to answer your question in 1 minute because I think I'm almost done. Fence companies that win locally aren't gaming Google. They're just clearer and more active and more trusted. So it goes to what we've been saying this whole time. And that is the end of it. So let me answer. So I'll wrap up. And then we're going to do a Q&A, and I'm going to answer any question that anyone has. If you're curious about your own EEAT on your website, the left QR code, and I will get you a link, or Ashton, or one of us will get you a link so you can click it if you don't have your phone. That will just give you some questions to tell you maybe where you should start first. On the right-hand side, if you want to talk about your specific situation, that is my active calendar. You can book some time, and I will take a look at, if you give me your website, I'll take a look at what's going on and put together a plan. Yeah, that said, I hope that was helpful. I will answer any questions in the chat. The one I see is from Eddie. How do you feel about home addresses? I'm cool with them. They will, if you have the chance to choose your Google business profile, the first place you're going to rank is within about a mile of wherever you registered. So if your home is way outside in the suburbs and you want jobs that are in a different neighborhood, then you may want to be a little more strategic about where you register the business with Google, where you plant your flag. I'm not against home addresses. A huge percentage of fence companies are registered at home addresses. You will rank faster if you're showing the address. No one ever visits the fence contractors. We're not on the route. But Google definitely trusts companies that show the address more than the ones that don't. So I would, in a perfect world, find out where you feel like most of your leads are going to come from, or look at your last jobs over the last year if you've been working without a business profile, and get an address, borrow, or pay for an address temporarily in that area, register the business, keep it registered there, and you should start getting more and more leads in that area, in that immediate area. So show the trailer park. Yeah, you can show the trailer park, or you can rent a co-working space in the area where you want leads from. And then you can show the co-working space. So as long as you have your own suite number and there's no other businesses registered to the same address, you're allowed to do that. And you can, yeah, co-working spaces are not unaffordable, and you don't need to sign like a 5-year deal. So you could look at that too. Yeah, great. Any more questions? And anyone, if my answers suck, you can tell me too. We are going to, we will take the recording and we will send it to you. We will email it to you. So if you didn't get to take notes or I went too fast on something, which I doubt I went too fast, I know I'm slow, then we'll send it to you and you will have the full recording so you can break this down. What else is on this thing? Yeah, I've got a bit of a checklist here as well. It's a lot of resources. Yeah, so if I was to break down it depends on your situation, what to focus on first, but getting reviews, building all your social profiles, at least have them. If you're not going to be active on it, at least spend a night and just start them, and then get like 5 posts on each one. So at least they exist. I would say 85% of the companies that sign up with us only have a Facebook page. A lot of them don't have an Instagram. They certainly don't have a LinkedIn profile or an X profile or a Pinterest. And those 6 profiles, you can connect directly to your GBP. Like there's literally a place for it. So those are obviously the ones that are important. So I would just start those profiles, post 5 times on each one, and then link it to your GBP, and you already made a big step forward. And then yeah, start adding some of these signals to your site. So you might have to redo content. You might need to take photos. When me and Ashton took our first headshots, it took like 45 minutes because I felt so cringe about it the whole time. But it's just part of business. Cool.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Sweet. Well, we'll get the email out to you with the recording as soon as it's done processing. Oh, we got one.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. You're welcome. You're welcome. Eddie, I'll answer your question. Yes. Speed delete is huge. It's absolutely huge. It's more important based on where the lead came from. So if it's a referral, they'll wait. They will wait, and then 5 minutes doesn't matter. So if you're getting most of your leads from referrals or people looking up your brand name or your name, it's not as important because they're not shopping for a fence. They're trying to get you to build them a fence, and that's a very different sales cycle, which I'm sure everyone knows. If you're running any advertising or it's a cold lead, it's an SEO lead, yeah, the 5 minutes is important. I think there's like I saw a study on this, I'm forgetting the number, but there's a very high percentage chance of them dropping off if you don't answer the call immediately or within 5 minutes. And I know that's very annoying with all the spam calls these days because it's gotten completely out of hand. But if you're an owner operator, you have to answer all the calls, including the spam calls, unfortunately. It's just kind of part of it. And if you start running any type of advertising, the sales calls are going to increase dramatically. Same with putting your business in the citations. They're going to increase them dramatically, and you still need to answer the phone consistently and in a professional manner. There are AI tools. I have found that a lot of markets, the people don't like when they talk to an AI, a voice AI. So at the very least, answer as fast as you can, ideally like on the first ring. And then if you can't do that, you can set up something called a missed call text back. That's automated. So if you don't pick up the phone, a text gets automatically sent out that sounds like you and just says, "Hey, I'm so sorry I couldn't answer right then, but I saw that you called. Um, this is Eddie from Big Asbestos Fences. Um, what were you looking for?" And then it can start to have the conversation for you by text, and then you can take over when you get a minute. So at the very least, I'd do that.
Anthony mentioned he has an AI answering that answers the missed calls he misses, but people hang up on her. The vocal AI is much easier to detect that it's AI, and people are definitely not a huge fan. So we find that the text is definitely the easier way to go.
I feel the AI voice works a bit better in like denser metropolitan cities and works a lot less well if you're outside of a major city. People like the human connection. They're calling to get a human connection. And when they get a robot and they can tell, they just go somewhere else. So yeah, I like the missed call text back. To engage with our business, what would you recommend? Book the strategy session. Yeah, I think the strategy session is the best way. It's one-on-one. It's pretty informal. It's like this. I'm just going to take a look at your situation and try to find like what is the most value I can provide for you. Like based on what I assume everyone's goal is, which is to move the business forward. So yeah, if you book that time, that's a live link to my availability, and you can, yeah, I'll do my best to make it a good use of your time. That's the best way to engage. Or of course, you can listen to our podcast as well. I think we probably got about 40 people who listen, but according to ourselves, it's going viral soon.
It's amazing. Yeah, but and you can also just get 30 minutes. Alec will break down your site either way and see
Yeah.
where you're at for SEO or ads, or you can look at some however your stuff is ranking and what your best next move is.
Yeah. Um, oh, Ashton, you sent that.
Yep.
Very nice. All right, everybody. I think the questions have slowed down. 53 minutes. I hope that was useful. If you liked it, feel free to follow us on socials. We'll be posting this and other webinars in case you miss it. I think we're still choosing the next topic for next month's webinar. I'm sort of split between doing something on local services ads, which is it's great for a ton of companies. A lot of people are sleeping on it, or reviews, how to actually ask for reviews. I find a lot of people feel like it's begging, at the very end of the job, being like, "Can you please give me a review also? Thanks for paying your bill. Can you please give me a review?" So it's between those two. We will cover both topic. Um, Yelp says it's not allowed. The asking for reviews. Yelp is the mafia, and they are dumb. So don't worry about them. I don't know if anyone has experience with them, but they they do some really. If you sign up for ads with them and then you stop signing up for ads, they'll only show your worst reviews, which makes them the mafia, in my opinion. So, yeah, Yelp. Yeah, don't worry about them. It is okay to ask for reviews. The actual rule is it's not okay to pay for reviews, or you're not supposed to exchange with people for reviews. That is against Google's terms and conditions. But there are still a lot of really easy ways to get reviews. So yeah, maybe I'll get the reviews one going as our next topic. And then it's almost summer though. LSAs could make people more money. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do both. Maybe we'll just pack them in. But thanks everyone for hopping in. Thank you for joining. I hope I get to meet some of you soon, and talk to y'all later. There's my head.